You're listening to Angel Mama's Pregnancy Loss podcast, where I share thoughts, tips, interviews, and more so you can feel connected, have confidence, and move forward in your pregnancy loss journey. Learn positive mindset, self-care, and be the best version of you. I'm your host, Anastasia Adam. I'm a mum of a 39-week stillborn, have experienced miscarriages, and now have two amazing little women. I've supported, mentored, and coached women to go for their dreams and live their best life through the health and wellness industry for many years. Successful entrepreneur and now holding space for women who have experienced a loss to have a voice. My goal is to be a source of connection so you know you are not alone. You can move through this, find happiness, and create the dream life you have always dreamed of. So let's jump into today's episode. Here we have Shan Weerasiri with us today. So how are you today?
I'm really well. How are you, Anastasia?
I'm good. So we are currently sitting in two different locations today as we are in isolation. We find ourselves in isolation in Melbourne again.
Yeah, that's right. It sucks. Second time round, it's really difficult because, the kids our daughter's over here from America and she wanted to get together with her sisters. And it was fine when it was 10 people, we could still get together somewhere. Now it really is, only they can just go for a walk now. So it's not easy with that. But, you know, we're better off than most. So let's take it like that. Every cloud has a silver lining. And we're watching all the Avenger movies.
And it's great. We get to connect anyway, don't we? Like even if, you know, technology these days has us able to connect so we can have a community.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful thing to be able to connect together even when we can't be together.
That's right. But I did find, especially our youngest grandchild, she's nearly 2. We missed a whole sort of block of her growing up. Yep. And she suddenly is talking, whereas she was doing, you know, and so I missed that. And I know it's going to happen in the next 2 months as well, the same thing, because she's at that age, they grow really quickly and change. Yeah. So those are the little things. But anyway, we've still got our health.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you for our listeners to know who you are and what you like to do.
Okay, so I'm Shan Weerasiri. I'm married to Tilak, who's the obstetrician in Bandura. And so we were both born in Sri Lanka, but he grew up in Australia and I grew up in London. And he was in London studying and I met him over there. And so we got married and came back. And so we've got 4 kids and 4 grandkids. And we've been married nearly 40 years.
Fantastic. It's such a beautiful story to hear. So you were sharing with me when I asked you if you can share on your social media a questionnaire I have for pregnancy loss that yes, you would, and you would love to fill in the questionnaire yourself because you yourself have experienced miscarriage.
Yes. So I've had 2 miscarriages, one was our first one. And the second time round we were expecting twins. So we lost one of the twins, both around 12 weeks, but it was still hard. It was like the first one was really, really hard because I was just 20. And the first thing I don't know why people try to justify what's happened. All you need is for someone to say, oh, we're really sorry and hold your hand. But people try to I find people try to find reasons for everything. And a lot of it was like blaming me. Like they'd say, oh, you went for too much exercise or you should have rested more and maybe you shouldn't have eaten this or eaten that, or especially the Indo-Sri Lankan community, they're very much into all of that. And I didn't see the point in waiting for 12 weeks to say I was pregnant, because if you're pregnant, you're pregnant. So everybody knew I was pregnant. So when I lost the baby, it was all because I was so young as well. And the worst thing they say is maybe there was something wrong with your baby. That really is inappropriate, you know, like that's the last thing you want to believe is there was something wrong with your baby. So
powerful. That's really powerful what you said then. You've actually given me goosebumps, is that people try to find a reason or someone or something to blame to give an understanding or And I had that same experience where, you know, or you also get, oh, it doesn't matter, it's not meant to be.
Yeah, yeah. And then I found that when I had the miscarriage with the twin, people would say, "Oh, you've got three others," and I was like, "But you know, it's so funny. Last night we were sitting on the chair, the two of us alone in the evening, a rare occurrence in our house." So I sort of said to him, I said, "You know, it's so funny. I'm going to have this chat with Anastasia," and I said, "I really don't know what to say except that I really miss them. I miss them because I think I always wonder what it would have been to have the twin, because in my family everyone's got twins,
Yeah.
and I always look at them. I'm getting teary now.
Yeah.
And I always look at them and I think, oh, I wish I had mine, because I feel like the odd one out in the family, because everybody, like my brother's got twins, my cousins have twins, and nieces have had twins. So like that, I feel like, oh, if I had mine, if only I had mine." So, and she was born 7 years after the other one, and I always think she would have had company, because she's always like hanging on me. Even now, she's 20 and she's still hanging on me, which is lovely. I love it. And she lives in Boston. She comes home and she'll sleep with me and she'll hang on me, and it was lovely. But I always think, oh, I wish she had a companion, like, you know, her twin. It never goes away. That never goes away.
And the what if, like, I'm creating a signature program, and the biggest thing in there that is, you know, people have answered the questionnaire that I'm adding in there is the what if. The what if is so powerful, isn't it? Like all the thoughts. And I know my earlier pregnancies were really just unexpected, and then you don't know how to go with that feelings and emotions. But with my stillborn, all of my friends had babies due around the time that he was due. So in the 6 months before he was due, I've got all of my best friends have children of that age born in that year.
Gosh, it must be so hard.
And that what if is really tough. You know, you see those, especially the milestones, you really see and you go, wow, you know, they've just turned 6 and they're at school, and you see them, you know, achieving something in a sport, or it can be really confronting, can't it? The what if.
I could not even imagine carrying a baby for as long as you did, and like not being able to bring him or her home.
Thank you.
And it must be the hardest thing. Like, you know, I just couldn't, I don't even know how to comprehend that feeling, because I know how I feel after 12 weeks, and that multiplied by God knows how much, because you feel the movements and all of that. And, you know, it becomes very real. And then especially if you can hold the baby after it's born, and it must be the worst thing to have to go and put it somewhere and be empty. You must feel empty. I would feel so empty.
Definitely.
And,
the emptiness, I think, like, you know, getting in your car with the car seat, going home from the hospital, and then going home to a nursery that's empty, and a body that's just had a baby, and, you know, all that stuff is very much, as you said, it's just, you just don't even know. I had to learn to live again. But I don't want to take the importance away of still an early pregnancy loss. Like, I experienced a couple earlier on myself, and at the time of those, they were earth shaking as well. And I remember laying in bed and just crying and thinking, well, it was so hard to fall pregnant, and I finally did, and why has this happened? And, you know, what you said, the what if, and the challenges that come with that, with a woman at any stage, is also, you know, can I fall pregnant again, or do I want to risk getting pregnant again? And I would love to know, from a obstetrician's wife point of view, like, how does it make you feel? Like, you must hear stories, and do you feel like it takes you back or gives you memories, or it
always takes me back. And one of the things that happened to me was, I was 20 when I got pregnant with my first, and I lost that baby at 12 weeks, just before 12 weeks. I had a missed abortion. So it was so funny. I used to tell her like, oh, I'm not feeling pregnant anymore. And he said, oh yeah, you're coming up to 12 weeks. And he was doing his head was somewhere else because he was doing his exams, and we were living in a little room because in those days the doctors were given a room. And so we were living in one little room. We had a little cooker and a sink, and that was it, one single bed. And it was, we didn't mind at all. And I was working and studying, and then he said, I said, oh no, my breasts don't feel tender anymore. And he said, oh, maybe it's coming up to 12 weeks and it should be. And then I started bleeding. And when they did the scan, it was a missed abortion. So there was nothing in there. And so I had the DNC and all that. I was well taken care of because he was a doctor in the hospital. But you know what? After that, every month, and I didn't want to wait. He said, should we just give it a bit of a rest? And I was so stressed about losing it. I wanted to get pregnant straight away. So every month it was just trauma. It just actually, we were only married for a year at that point, and it just kind of ruined that whole year because every month I would be counting, the calendar would be there and I would mark it off and then, 28 days. And I'd ring my mum, I think I'm pregnant. And she would be like, oh, we pray. And then like we're praying, and then I'd bleed at 29 and then I'd be devastated again. And it took me a whole year. I hear him telling his patients, just relax, take it easy. And I mean, of course you can't. Those are just words. And it was the strangest thing. So we were moving then house, and we were moving to Wales. And so because that whole year I would just lie down in bed every time it got close to the period time, hoping to keep this pregnancy or whatever it was. And so then at that month we were moving, and I had no time to think about the pregnancy and everything, and I was totally relaxed, and just my mind was off this pregnancy, and I got pregnant, and I was pregnant with and I was lifting heavy boxes and all of this.
Yeah.
But that with Tim, our son, our firstborn, he's nearly 37 now. I stayed in bed the entire pregnancy with my feet up. I was so afraid to lose this baby. I didn't move, and then I didn't do anything. I used to just get up. He'd make me a cup of tea in the morning and go, because I was as sick as a dog. And every time I threw up, I'd be thanking God, because that meant healthy pregnancy. and it was so funny. And, he was a dream pregnancy, dream baby. But it's just so much stress. And you know what? After that, each pregnancy, every time I go to the toilet, I look down to see if there's blood.
Yes.
And with the two girls in the middle, with Beck and Chloe, I had bleeds one at 10 weeks, one at 14 weeks. Both pregnancies were fine. I had, really good pregnancy after that, and really good labor and all of that. But yeah, but it was also a bit, because still I had seen so many miscarriages and pregnancies. He was like, I think he couldn't understand because he would see a lady have a miscarriage or whatever, and then he wouldn't see them again when they're pregnant again. So all of that stuff I went through, I think he struggled with that a little bit, sort of, why is she so upset about this? It was only 12 weeks.
Yes, I can totally understand that. Like, going through those motions and those feelings. And as you said, the stress. So I remember after the first miscarriage, I was like, oh, please don't happen again. Please don't happen again. When we finally found pregnant, I think that was 8 months later. And then that was I think that was 8 weeks. I had that miscarriage. And then when I finally got pregnant to Angel, and then everyone's like, oh, this one's going to be fine. Every time I went to the toilet, I would, as you said, I would still...
Terrible, isn't it?
And I really do wish there was more awareness of stillborns, because when I got to a certain stage, I thought, oh, thank God I'm after 26 weeks. Like, if anything was to happen here, we should be okay. Thank God that it's going to be okay. But I didn't know an awareness of stillborn. And even if I did it, obviously probably couldn't change the outcome. But just having an awareness that it's something that happens, I think, would have been so amazing. And then, like 6 weeks after I lost him, I fell pregnant to Satiri. I was just like you. I couldn't wait. I just, my head was done in. I just wanted to get pregnant and try and have another baby. And although I was absolutely terrified of something happening like that and trying to live a life from the beginning, like I had to learn to, it was in my head just to get out every day of the letterbox and just to have something small to eat. then when I was pregnant with her, I think I rocked myself in the corner the whole entire 9 months, and poor Tilak was my obstetrician. And I'm like, is everything okay? He's like, everything's going to be okay. I'm like, no, but is everything going to be okay? Because, you know, it's so traumatic. You just want to hold a healthy baby in your hands, you know?
Yeah. I could not imagine what you went through. But yeah, I remember like even with the twins, so when we went to have the scan, I didn't know I was expecting twins, except that I was so sick it had to be twins. And then when we went for the scan, it was the most heartbreaking thing. There was one baby there and she was moving around and the other one was just completely still.
Yeah.
And the guy who did the scan, he quickly moved away, like he didn't want to show the baby to me. I have a picture still that I keep. It's so funny, isn't it? You keep that picture. Absolutely. It's like treasured picture. And so it was just the worst thing to see two and then one moving around. But I must admit, I had a lot of health complication in between, like after Chloe, and this is 7 years later now, and I had a tumor and I had actually nearly died. So I think carrying twins might have been a challenge. I'm not sure. But yeah, now I had a very serious operation that was like about 7 or 8 hours long. Wow. So it was a huge tumor to remove. That's a whole entire different story. And it was a real miracle that I did actually have a baby. But, the thing is, it was just still hard seeing the two side by side and one moving and one not. I still, till my dying day, I will wonder what that baby would have been. And, because once they saw the baby wasn't moving, they moved away. They didn't look at the gender or anything. I mean, it was 12 weeks anyway. I don't think you can clearly say. But yeah, I always wonder, was it a boy? Was it a girl? Isn't it strange?
So strange. It is really strange that you just, the unknown, like what color eyes, what voice, what personality, what would have they liked? Why, and the big reason, why did it happen?
Yeah, why did it happen? But mine was like, they were non-identical twins, so that's why I managed to keep one. So I hung on to one at least. I'll just turn this around because it's so glowing here. Yeah, so we had one at least, and she's lovely. I couldn't live without her, really. So we've actually had the first two were 3 years apart, then we had one 6 years later, and then another one 7 years later.
Absolutely amazing. So a full house. You've got one boy and 3 girls, is it?
One boy and 3 girls. So two of them live in America. So the first and the last, they were actually born on the same day.
Oh, wow.
It's really strange. And then we've got the 2 girls that live here. And Beck, actually, if you ever have like an operation on a Friday, she assists him in theatre. She's a doctor as well.
That's so special.
He loves it.
A little fun fact for you, me and my brother are born on the same day as well, but we're 4 years apart.
That's amazing. And you know what? Our 2 grandsons, we have 2 grandsons, they were born on the same day too.
Oh, wow. That's so strange. I haven't met many, but that's good to know.
But Beck actually had her baby at 26 weeks. That was another trauma. Yeah, it brought a lot of memories back, and we didn't know. It was very touch and go for a while. And so it's so funny, the big spectrum of pregnancies I see and how people are, and I can some of the young mums now, because I took over the running of the practice, and I work there a fair bit from time to time, taking a few weeks off now that we've got our youngest home. But I see the whole gamut of pregnancies, the diabetes, the ones who are anxious because they're spotting, ones who are bleeding, and it's nice. I feel like their mum, and when I see the little grandchildren, like the children being born, I'm all excited. I'm like the grandma for them all.
I love that. That is so beautiful. And you just aura that motherly essence from you.
Oh,
it just comes out of you naturally. No one can ever take that beauty away from you, which is a magic. So you recently renovated, or you've moved location. So whereabouts is your practice?
So we were at the North Park Hospital, so just on the other side of the fence. So we actually share a fence with the hospital. So on Oxley Avenue, we bought an old house and renovated it. And I was very careful to plan every little detail according to what I would have liked. So no patient is kept waiting anymore when they come to the counter. So we have 2 people at all times, so that one is answering the phone, and if you call, you'll have 100% attention. You won't be put on hold. And if you're in the rooms, you'll have 100% attention in there. There's another receptionist who will look after you in there, and you won't be standing there till someone's answering the phone. And there's like a lovely area where it's like a lovely sitting room. It's like a lounge room, and I can't wait to do a video and release it because it's so beautiful. I love going there myself. I've decorated it with just plants and a few paintings, and it's at the right temperature, and we have a lovely fish tank, and it's a lovely sound. And the bathroom
amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. Everybody walks in and they're like, wow. And the consulting room, inside the rooms, we're not using old sheets to cover the patients. I've got every detail is down to pat. Like I've got, paper towels so that every patient, it gets changed, and fresh towels, fresh linen, like a lovely room. And it's just beautiful. And the staff are well taken care of as well. So they have their own little kitchen and fridge and food and microwave. And it's like, everybody's like, oh, we want to move in here.
You've got a secret designer thing with you then. Not only you're amazing at making cakes as well, which I've seen, but you're great at designing. That sounds fantastic.
Oh, thank you. And also we're hoping to get pathology in there so that it'll be a one-stop shop.
Yeah, that
so you can come in and get everything done. You don't have to go anywhere, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I got all the furniture, and I went and chose the furniture so that pregnant mums won't find it difficult to get up from them. And it's just so much thought went into every little detail so that it's user friendly.
You really have done an amazing job. I might have to pop in and have a look at the new.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you should. You should just pop in and have a look. And we wanted to have so many things like yoga classes for our pregnant mums, and I had all this planned. And anyway, it's all on hold. It'll happen. It'll happen.
What would you say, like as a finishing thing, to somebody who has experienced pregnancy loss, who might not or have kids yet, who has just experienced their first pregnancy loss at any stage? Do you have any motherly advice that you can share with them?
Yes. So I would love to say, find someone who's just going to cuddle you, not advise you or give you, all this talk as to try to justify why it happened. And then just take it easy and know if you've got pregnant once, you'll get pregnant again. And obviously, I don't think you can tell anyone, don't stress. But look after yourself and get, like I should have got some psychology or gone to a psychologist or talked to someone. I didn't. Yeah. My advice would be to get some professional help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think that would be much better than the way we handled it. And because I know I didn't cope, and I was like beside myself and all that crying and all of that. I think I could have avoided. And, and at the end of the day, Tilak was like totally helpless. Like he didn't know what to do to help me.
Yes.
They're so helpless.
Yeah.
But get some professional help is what I would say, really. And,
absolutely amazing. Well, you have been a delight today. Thank you so much for joining me. I've absolutely loved hearing your story and your journey. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode on Angel Mama's pregnancy loss. It means so much to me to be able to provide you community, connection, and support to live a happier, healthier life. If you enjoyed today's episode, I'd be very grateful if you could leave a review and a rating in iTunes. It really helps to connect with other mamas that also are looking for support through their journey. And if you know someone who has experienced pregnancy loss, please share it with them. If you would like to connect, you can find me via email at welcome@anastasiaadam.com.au, or on socials, head over to @Angel Mamas Pregnancy Loss on Facebook, and on Instagram @Angel_Mamas_AU. I'm looking forward to connecting again soon.